What's up, guys? It's Dominata back here with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my review from Monday Night Raw and Smackdown Live over this past week. Today is June 16th. It is Father's Day, so I'll be making these videos every single week doing my review over Raw and Smackdown, and I'll be giving my rating at the end of each review on whether it was an awesome show. So let's do the rankings. So it could either be an extremely boring show, a boring show, a meh show, a good show, or it could be an amazing show. So those are the criteria for the ratings, the reviews that I'm going to be doing. So let's start off with Monday Night Raw. We had Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch doing a promo for their match, for Stomping Grounds, because Lacey Evans is apparently getting a rematch, even though they said they weren't giving automatic rematches. So this was kind of like a we didn't really need it kind of promo. We could have had this maybe on the match they had later on that night, but I felt like this promo was kind of completely useless, even though we got to see them go back and forth, and Lacey Evans with her I surrender kind of moment. But I think we didn't really need this promo. But it was a good promo because we all know that Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch do have good delivery in their promos against each other. And then we had a Miz TV with Samoa Joe. This is actually a good Miz TV, or I wouldn't give it a great Miz TV, but it was actually a good Miz TV. Samoa Joe kind of was like saying why he is going to be a dominant champion now that Rey Mysterio is out of the picture, and Miz was kind of saying he didn't win the title. He was kind of given the title. But then we saw Braun come out and he said he was deserving of the United States Championship next. But then we saw Bobby Lashley say, "Don't forget about me." And then we also saw Ricochet, who came out, who said that he deserves a United States title opportunity because he beat Cesaro 2 weeks in a row. But then Cesaro came out and he kind of held the microphone up to his mouth, thinking we thought he was gonna say something, but then he just ended up popping Ricochet with the what's it called? The microphone. I can't even speak right now. But we saw him hit Ricochet with the microphone, and then everybody started brawling in the ring. So we obviously saw a tag team match. But this tag team match was actually incredible. We got to see actually new people go after titles. Well, after the United States Championship. And so this was actually a great tag team match, and we ended up seeing Ricochet pick up the win via 450 splash on Cesaro. And I don't know why Cesaro is always the one taking the L or the pinfall loss, because I think Cesaro is an amazing competitor. WWE is just not utilizing him correctly. And we saw the 24/7 champion, R-Truth and Carmella, come from SmackDown. Or do they really need the wild card rule for them, since he is the hardcore champion. But we saw them get locked in an elevator with Cedric Alexander. We saw Drake Maverick, Heath Slater, and EC3 all get stuck in an elevator, and they got to share little moments, and I guess they're bonding more after that time in the elevator. And then the elevator door opened, and then they just went brawling again. But then R-Truth got to end up back in that elevator, and he is still 24/7 champion. And I really do not know what they are doing with the 24/7 championship, because I know back then the hardcore championship would kind of change like almost every single minute. It would change like every single show. It would change like seconds after another. But they're just kind of keeping the hardcore. Why am I saying the hardcore championship? 24/7 championship on R-Truth, even though he is the one who has made this title entertaining and the title means something. But I really hope that we get to see more champions and more people holding the championship later on in the future. But then we ended up seeing Alexa Bliss and Lacey Evans with Nikki Cross against Bayley and Becky Lynch. And I do not know what they're doing with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, because as we've seen on Raw, I thought they were going to go after the tag team championships maybe, since they were battling the Iconics, and maybe we got to see Alexa Bliss turn heel. But then the night after, we saw her on SmackDown Live due to the wild card rule, and now she's going after the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. And I don't know why WWE always does this with us, but they'll give us something that we like, and then they'll just take it away and scrap it. So I do not know what they're doing with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I thought it was going to be Alexa and Nikki Cross against Becky and Bayley, but it does kind of make more sense for the champions against the challengers. And we also got to see Alexa Bliss and Lacey Evans pick up the win against the champions, surprisingly, because we always see the champions win the matches. But we got to see them win, and I wonder what is going to happen at Stomping Ground. And we also got to see the Iconics. Finally, we got to see the Iconics defend their championships against a team that is grueling. We got to see them. That is a worthy, deserving challengers. We got to see them against... Who were they against again? Oh, right, some local competitors. I do not know why WWE is treating their... Not only their women's tag team division, but the tag team division and the tag team champions like they are just a leftover champion, because we got to see them twice, both on SmackDown and both on Monday Night Raw. We got to see them face local competitors, not the champions, but kind of the challengers, and the tag team division has to face local competitors. I do not know why they are doing this to the Iconics and the tag team division, but hopefully now that maybe the fans will start to get their voices heard, even though that's rarely ever done in the WWE. Even though we are the authority, hopefully we get to see more happen in the future with the tag team division. And we also got to see Shane McMahon's celebration. His, what's it called? His, best in the world celebration over Roman Reigns at Super Showdown. And we saw, if you guys didn't know this, but Shane McMahon has not lost since his win at WrestleMania. So maybe they're giving Shane McMahon a push. I do not know, but he has had the longest, gimmick or storyline after WrestleMania, because he has won every single match, like I just said, and he has this gimmick going as he is the best in the world, even though he is kind of not, even though The Miz is. But I would like to see what is going to happen in Shane McMahon's future, but I would like to see more people, I don't want to say better deserving people, but more mid-carders and more people that are actually wrestling to get main storylines and get TV time. But we're just not going to talk about that right now. That's a totally different topic. But let's move on to the next one. We have the Revival winning the tag team championships. We've seen Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins finally get back on TV, and we've seen them against the Usos and the Revival in a surprisingly tag team match that just came out of nowhere. And we got to see the Revival win the tag team championships. I think this is for the second time or the third time. I do not really know, but this was kind of like a surprise, and it came out of nowhere. I would have loved to see Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins maybe go on further with the tag team championships, but I don't know what they're doing with the tag team division. There is kind of we don't know. We're just gonna switch up stuff to make people like the show, and get more invested into the show. But I do not know what they're doing. But let's move on to our main event match. We saw Kevin Owens against Seth Rollins with Sami Zayn as the special guest outside the ring ref. And we got to see Sami Zayn check both Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, and he pulled out the ref out of the ring. So I really like those kind of moments in the match. But we saw a disqualification, so it was kind of like this match was kind of pointless. I'm sorry, but this match was kind of pointless, and it gave no meaning to what Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin are gonna do at Stomping Grounds. So, yeah, this main event was kind of pointless due to the disqualification and due to the Kevin Owens against Seth Rollins, which they do not have a storyline going after each other. But I give Raw a kind of meh rating. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that good. So it's kind of like in the middle for a maybe like medium or like I just said, a meh rating. But now we move on to SmackDown Live, who was kind of a little bit better. We saw Miz TV again. Apparently to Miz this was an unplanned Miz TV, but we saw him with Shane McMahon, Elias, and Drew McIntyre, and kind of a hopefully do not go back to this rivalry. But we saw Shane McMahon rub his win in Miz's face. But then we seen that Miz wants to go back at Shane McMahon and have another match with him, but Shane McMahon said he would have to beat Drew McIntyre and Elias back to back to be able to get to him. And we saw Miz win the first match against Elias, but lose the second match against Drew McIntyre. But then Shane McMahon ended up giving him the match anyway. But as we saw, Shane McMahon won that match. And I do not know what they're doing with Elias, because if he's going to be with Drew McIntyre and Shane, he has to be kind of a dominant person. And as we see, Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon are always winning their matches, and Elias is always the one losing the matches. So I do not know what they're doing with Elias in that kind of trio with Shane and Drew. But maybe we get to see maybe Elias win a couple more matches when he's with Shane and Drew. But I just do not know. But then we move on to our next segment, and it was Heavy Machinery. Well, we seen Daniel Bryan and Rowan come out, and then Heavy Machinery came out saying they want the Tag Team Championship opportunity. And then they went against one of the most dominant tag teams. They're actually champions. We saw the Yolo County Champions. I didn't even remember the name. They're just local competitors. And we saw them go up against Heavy Machinery. And again, why are they treating their tag team division? Especially people that want to go after the tag team champions and might be getting a tag team championship storyline. And we saw them against local competitors. But as we've seen, Heavy Machinery won, and they're the new Yolo County Tag Team Champions. That was kind of out of the ordinary, but I want to see more from the tag team division and better for the tag team division. As we've seen, the 24/7 Championship was on the show again, and we saw him get locked in a kind of, what do you call those things? Kind of a cart that the WWE keeps their stuff in, and we seen him get locked in there, and Jinder Mahal did a horrible Carmella impersonation when she was having her match, and I guess R-Truth is now going to LA for next week's Monday Night Raw, and I think he's still in there. But Jinder Mahal is now following him, and maybe we'll get to see more of the 24/7 Championship. And I have to say, the 24/7 Championship is the most entertaining parts about Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, because you don't know what is going to happen with that championship. And as we've seen, we saw Carmella against Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. Maybe before their match, we saw Ember Moon get tormented by Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. So I do not know what they're doing with that, them, because they're still going after Carmella. Maybe we get to see a tag team match between Ember and Carmella against Sonya and Mandy. But we ended up seeing Sonya Deville pick up the win over Carmella. Are they making Carmella a jobber now? Because she not only lost the match against Mandy Rose, well, she did end up losing that match against Mandy Rose, and she did end up losing the match this week against Sonya Deville. So I did not know what they're doing with Carmella and Sonya. Carmella, Sonya, and Mandy, or Carmella, Sonya, Mandy, and Ember. We'll have to wait until, later on in the weeks to see what is going to happen with them. And then we saw Aleister Black where has Aleister Black been? Well, we know where he has been. He has been locked in a room, and he's just waiting for someone to open the door and challenge him. But why haven't we had, like, kind of plans for him, or have him in a match? I thought when he went to SmackDown Live, we were going to see, like, an amazing Aleister, an amazing Aleister, that maybe a rougher, tougher, maybe, like, better why do I keep saying Aleister than we've seen on NXT and Monday Night Raw, but he has not wrestled since going to SmackDown Live. So I do not know what they're doing with Aleister Black. Hopefully we get to see him in, like, a good storyline, or, like, a great storyline, or maybe he'll get a push when he finally gets to be wrestling on the main roster. Then we've seen Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens against the returning Big E with the New Day, and that was our main event match. That was the main event match, and of course, the last match is always a 6-man tag, a tag team match, 2-on-1. It's always ending in a tag team match, but we got to see the New Day pick up the win, obviously, against Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. And I think this Dolph Ziggler against Kofi Kingston match is kind of the only kind of reasonable and obviously fair rematch, because Dolph Ziggler was obviously screwed by Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston at Super Showdown. And the thing I have to say about the wild card rule is, surprisingly, we did not see Roman Reigns go to Raw this week. But I think that the wild card rule is kind of, like, pointless now, because we obviously see the same people going. We see Drew going, we see Elias going, we see now we see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens going. They're kind of like the same people, and I think they're doing more than 4 people. I thought it was originally only supposed to be 4 people per brand switch, and I think that it was exciting when it was first announced, but now it's just kind of like, we don't really care for it. We're just going to invite people going back and forth. And I know that it's kind of messing up the live events, because some live events are being canceled because some of the big people need to be on Raw and some of the big people need to be on SmackDown. So they're kind of like messing up the live events as well. So I do not know what they're going to do with the wild card. Hopefully they can fix it and make it something that the fans want to see each and every week. But that is the SmackDown Live review, and I give it also, like Raw, I give it a meh rating. It wasn't that good, and it wasn't that bad. So it was kind of in the middle. So this week's Raw and SmackDown were kind of both meh ratings, so they were kind of like in the middle. But that is my review. Leave your comments down below if I should if I should do the NXT and 205 reviews. Also NXT UK, I should add that. But hopefully you guys like this video. I'll be doing these weekly reviews every single week. So like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys in the next video. It's Nivenad signing out. Bye, champs.